I have always been sort of a very interesting problem solver. I, growing up, had a lot of issues in school, specifically like a math or science class, where I would be able to solve a problem and get the right answer, but maybe I wouldn't go about doing it the right way, and I'd always get points off or I'd get it considered wrong. And I never really understood this because if I'm getting the right answer, but I'm not doing it the one correct way, it didn't really make sense to me. And my dad always told me, you just kind of listen to your authority figures, do what they say, buckle down, and try to be better. I did not like that. And that started to build up as I got a little bit older. So when I was 16, I was getting ready to get my driver's license. And I had been practicing for a very long time. My parents wanted to make sure that all me and my brothers were fantastic drivers. So we would drive around the neighborhood. We would practice parallel parking in my driveway. They wanted to do anything just to make sure we were confident behind a wheel. And we all are. So I had saved up all of my money and I bought my first car. It was a 1997 Jeep Wrangler. It was fire truck red. It had soft top windows. I could take the door off if I wanted to. It was the coolest car for a 16-year-old kid to have. And I loved it. So I was taking it to go do my driving test. And I took the windows off because it's summertime in Texas. And the first part that I had to do in my driving test is you have to parallel park. And I have to they have these like concrete poles that you have to park in between to act as other cars. I have to line up my mirror with the first pole, reverse back in, straighten it out, and pull back out. So I go in, I pull up, I get my mirrors lined up to the first pole, I reverse back in, I straighten the car out, and I pull back out. Great. The instructor says, now you just drive around for about 5 or 10 minutes, just whatever we ask for you to do. And that's what we did. And I am nailing it, okay? I can feel my stops are perfect. They're smooth. I'm using my blinker the right time. I'm merging correctly. He's complimenting me throughout the drive, so I know it's going great. And I'm excited because I know I'm getting my license. And we come back to the DMV. We park. He says, congratulations, you're a fantastic driver. I'm blushing because I know I am. And then he says to me, but I can't give you your license today. And at first I kind of think like, oh, their system's down. The printer's not working. They just can't like print it out for me. And then I'm realizing he's not joking and that I failed. And so I'm replaying everything in my head. I'm like, did I hit a pole? Did I mess something up? Did I go too fast? And none of it makes sense because he was complimenting me throughout the drive. So I don't really understand. And I asked him, I said, I'm so sorry, but did I do something wrong? Is there a reason that I can't get my license today? And he says, well, you're doing your test in a Jeep Wrangler. You don't have the windows on your car, and it's much smaller than a standard US vehicle. And when you're doing your driving test, we need to know that you can parallel park in any type of car, and doing it in a car this small is just a bit unfair. Now, what the fuck does that mean? I go from slightly concerned to furious because this makes absolutely no sense. I did my research before I did my driving test. I made sure that I was going to be able to do it in my car. I asked my dad before, I said, I can do my test in my Jeep, right? And he said, if there's nothing on the website, I just would keep the doors on, which I did. I had the windows on. That was all I needed. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, there's no logical reasoning for this. The car is registered in my name. It's a legal car. I don't understand. Now I'm thinking it's personal. He's never seen such a great 16-year-old driver in his life that he's just going to knock me down a peg. And I am going from kind of furious now to I feel stupid. I feel like I'm in school being told, well, you got the right answer, but you didn't go about it the right way. And I'm feeling embarrassed. I feel a little bit just kind of still angry, but I feel like I don't know what to do. So he says, all you have to do is just come back and redo the parallel parking portion in a different car. So before I leave, I book an appointment and I make sure to book it with the same man because you can choose who your driving instructor is. And I've got a point to prove now. And his next available opening is a week later. So I'm doing my test again in a week. And I go home. I tell my dad. He says, well, that seems weird, but hey, He's the boss, so you got to do it. You can take your grandma's car. My grandma had a little 4-door sedan, but that wasn't going to work for me. No. I had a point to prove. So he wasted my time. I feel I must now return the favor. So a week goes by, and I come back with my dad's 1999 Chevy Suburban. And Suburban, about 4 times as long as a Jeep Wrangler, arguably the largest SUV you can drive. And he has the exhaust on, so you can hear this car like a mile away. So I pull up, guns blazing, and this car is loud. And I pull up, and he goes, well, I'm a little bit concerned now because the car, we only have a certain size spot that you can parallel park in, and I'm worried the truck might be too big. Goldilocks really doesn't want me to get my license because first she said it's too small, and now it's too big. I don't say anything. I say it's okay. I have practiced here. I've driven in this car a million times. I promise I can do this. He reluctantly gets into my car. We start it, and I pull up to do the parallel parking. I line my mirror up to the first pole. I reverse back in. Some would say perfectly. I would agree. Straighten the wheel. I turn back out. I stop. He says, congratulations. I said, okay, we can go ahead and do the rest now. And he says, oh, that's not necessary. All you needed to do was just come back and redo the parallel parking portion. I said, well, if my parallel parking in the Jeep didn't work, then everything else I must have done wasn't working either. So we can redo the test again. And I didn't really give him the option as I'm the one in the driver's seat. So I just kind of pulled out of the DMV and asked him, what would you like me to do first? And we did a very short version of the redo of my driving portion, and I did everything perfectly. Somehow, I was able to do it even in this monster truck. And we went around and we came back, pulled back into the DMV. He says, congratulations, you got your license. I know. I should have got it the first time. I didn't need to do this all over again. He wasted my time. I felt I needed to waste his time a little bit. I usually try to go based off what my dad had always told me. I want to be taking the high road, doing what an adult tells me to do, looking above and just doing the right thing. But sometimes it feels really good to be a petty bitch. Thank you.